Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are on page 157 of your student journal. And our objective or goal today is, today I will compare fractions using visual models. Period. Okay, so let's look at our vocabulary since this is something new. Our first words actually remind us all about what a fraction is and what the parts are. So a fraction is a numeric value that represents part of a whole or part of a group. And they remind us that the numerator is the number of equal parts being considered. A lot of times you hear me say the number of parts I have. And the denominator is the total number of equal parts in the whole. How much was it partitioned or cut into? Okay, then we have our three words about comparing, our three comparing words. So our first word is equal to. So it's the symbol used to show both compared values are the same. So remember, equal to doesn't always look exactly the same, but it's going to mean that their value is the same. Okay, then we have our two symbols. Greater than is a symbol used to show that one value is larger than the other. So the greater than, and I always remember from when I was younger, they say that the alligator mouth grabs the bigger one. So imagine that being the alligator mouth and he's going to eat the larger number. Okay, less than is the symbol used to show one value is smaller. I also remember the less than symbol looks like kind of an L. So it's kind of sideways, but that's how I can remember which one's which, that this one is the less than symbol because it looks like an L, and then that one's my greater than symbol. Okay, so those are the symbols we're going to be using. Okay, here is my first problem. It says, compare the fractions using number lines. Okay, so they want us to compare 2/6 and 1/3. Okay, so let's do my first number line. So I'm going to use number lines that only go from 0 to 1. So this is going to be my 0, and this is going to be my 1. And from 0 to 1, it was cut into 1, 2, 3 parts, which means my denominator is a 3. So I have 1/3, 2/3, and 1 is equal to 3/3. Okay, let's look at my next number line. Again, I'm going to do 0 and 1. And my 1 number was partitioned into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parts. So my denominator is going to be a 6. So we have 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, 5/6, and 1 is equal to 6/6. Okay, so they want us to compare 2/6 to 1/3. Well, 1/3 is this much, goes to here, and 2/6 goes to there. So 1/3 and 2/6 are actually the exact same amount. So those are equivalent. So they're equal in value. Okay, let's look at my next one. Now I have a circular area model. Compare the fractions by completing the models. Okay, so 2/4. So 4 means I'm going to partition it into 4 parts. And the 2 numerator tells me I have 2 of the parts. Okay, and this one, the 4 denominator says I'm going to also partition it into 4 parts. But the 3 numerator tells me I have 1, 2, 3 of the parts. Okay, so which one is larger? Which one has more value? This one. So I'm going to grab that one. That's the symbol I'm going to use. Now this symbol is called a less than because it looks like that L. So I would read this as 2/4 is less than 3/4. Okay, so, and again, I'm grabbing the larger one. Okay, let's try some together. So we're on page 158. And here is our first one. It says, compare the fractions using the number line. So we are comparing 1/4 to 2/8. All right, so let's look at our first number line. We have our 0 here and our 1 here, and it was partitioned into 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces, which tells us our denominator needs to be a 4. So we have 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and 1 is equivalent to 4/4. Okay, let's look at our next number line. We're going to do 0 and 1. And this one was partitioned into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 parts. Okay, so we have 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and 1 is equivalent to 8/8. Okay, so 1/4 is this much, and 2/8 is this much. So just like in my example, those are equivalent. They're in the exact same value, so those would be equal. Okay, let's look at our next one. Compare the fractions by completing the models, 1/3 and 1/4. Okay, so the 3 denominator says we need to cut it as carefully as we can into 3 equal parts. And the 1 numerator says I only have 1 of them. Okay, this one, the 4 denominator says we're going to cut it into fourths. I like to start with cutting it in half and then cutting those in half. And the 1 numerator means I have 1 of them. Okay, so which one is more? This one's larger. This piece is larger. So I'm going to grab that one. I'm going to have my alligator mouth grab the 1/3. And because that doesn't look like an L, this is my greater than symbol. So I would read this as 1/3 is greater than 1/4. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you have the next couple pages to try on your own. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.